I guess, to go through baby books like it is today. Like
Right.
it is, back when we were born. But I was number 1, and you were what, number 3 when you were born?
I was the third of 3, and you were the first of how many?
6, and then Mother remarried, and
6.
had 1 child. I have a half sister, Tish, Letitia Thomas Sandejas, out of
Wow.
Houston. Yeah, she's
Wow.
Catholic, but we were brought up Baptist, strict Baptist, Southern
And we were brought up
Southern Baptist.
Presbyterian. So let me ask you something. I think, well, I'll just make a statement first. I think because that we had these tendencies in our families, we came in with these abilities, a lot of these, telepathic and psychic abilities, right? That's why the government programs, the government people started to look at us and our families because we had these natural abilities, and somehow they knew about it. And you had an episode where they came. What's that?
Did you ever have any government people? Did you ever have any government people around you, or not until you were in college or Pennsylvania? Do you remember?
I met a fellow who said he was a royalty. He was he contacted me.
As an adult, though.
He contacted me as an adult, right? But what he said, he said that they were tracking me coming in, and then I was led to go rent Taken because I don't have television. I haven't had television since I moved to this house in 1997, right? So I get these things that say like guidance, and it says go rent this and that. So back then, remember we had Blockbuster, right? So I went down to Blockbuster and I rented Taken, right? And I would rent one and take it back and get the next one and get the next one. So I saw, I think it was 20 hours of Taken by Steven Spielberg, and I believe it was made somewhere around the year 2000. And then I was just really astonished when, what was the little girl's name?
Allie
Clark, when they said, we tracked you coming in. Now, I don't think I heard, I think I heard that like a year. I can't remember exactly how that was, but it was shocking when I heard that from this fellow. And then he said that they had a room dedicated to me in the Naval Academy over on the East Coast. I guess it's in Academy. I should Google this, yeah. But then years later, you told me that you were tracked coming in, but I think there's certain people that they track coming in. Anyway, I think what Spielberg was reporting something that actually happened, yeah.
Yeah, he had a man write the story for him, but I think the research was done, and a lot of people related to that, but I totally related to it because of my story. So when I did, in 2016, paranormal panel moderator, and people were allowed to ask me questions, but some of the kids said I was the girl because they asked questions and said, you're Allie and Taken. So I was like, yeah, I've been told that. I had been told that a lot. So a lady had sent me the book Taken from Roswell, New Mexico, because she believed that too and said, you've really got to read that. So people started sending me that book. I got 2 or 3 copies. People would mail it to me because by the time, when did it come out? Was it?
I'll go look at it right now. Yeah.
2002, but when did the book? I know Dakota Fanning played her, and she was a really young girl, but my family lived in Lubbock. My sister, the Lubbock Lights, and her boys, and they found out who they were in the internet by reading what I'd put about them in Lubbock and some of my stories. So I thought that was really strange.
Novel. I didn't even know there was a novel on it. I thought it was just the movie. Okay, so it was done in October 29th, 2002. It's only $6.99. I'm going to add that to my cart. Take a look at it.
All right.
Yeah, here we go. I know I'm not going to buy it right now, but I always add things to it's like a little fantasy.
Mine
it's
are
like,
all in Kentucky.
well, they get the money.
Yeah.
What's that?
Mine are all in Kentucky. My whole library is gone. I had the first book that Stanton Friedman read, and then the VA gave me a lot of books when I was being guided through the VA with Tom. They gave us a bunch of books because they wanted me to do the research. They left all these books out. I remember with Tom, they were hoping I'd write a history of all this, the UFO business, because I was writing back then, 2007. He died in 2015. But the last 3 or 4 years of his life, we'd go to the VA in Evansville, Indiana, and they had a bunch of books, Ruth Montgomery books, some of the books of the old UFO people all out, and they allowed us to take them. It was really a strange situation. There were books all the way up, all the way down, and said, "Yeah, we could take them. Please take them." I was never seen that before. I'd been going there for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden, all these books were there. So I took some home, but they're all with Deborah Dockery now in my old house, and she said she threw them all away, all my books, and I had some priceless copies. Oh my God! But she didn't, and she's an author, but she didn't care to keep all the books. So probably lost my baby book and everything. But you can't take it with you. So here I am now, and here you are. We're doing a radio show about our alien experiences. So I guess we ought to talk about those. So we're starting with the taking. Janet and I both related to that story. It affected us. When you were talking about the part where they had the lights tracking, and then the little girl went on the front porch and told all of the people there to come, and she helped them get their little implants out of their noses. So you of all people, had little things in your nose. I broke my nose. So,
well, how do you know if you do or don't? But mine, I remember getting. I was, I just started kindergarten, and I was so tuned to my mother. So my mother would get upset, right? She was always getting upset. So she got upset because I was going to miss school because I couldn't stop sneezing. When I got the implant, I woke up and it was just, liquid was just pouring out of my nose because my body was trying to get this thing up my nose out, right? And I was just sneezing. I could not stop sneezing. And she said, "Oh, I guess you can't go to school." And I'm like, "Well, I just can't stop sneezing." And I was just nonstop. Now, my mother never would take me to the doctor because we were poor. She said, "I can't afford to take you to the doctor. Oh, no." So it was always like, I didn't like to be sick because she would get upset. So anyway, we rode that, but I'll never forget it because it was so traumatic on so many levels. Not only was I having a physical reaction from getting an implant, but, it was causing a major upset in my family. So anyway, you don't remember getting any kind of things?
I broke my nose. I had to wear like a baseball catcher's mask on my nose. It was very traumatic. I couldn't breathe out of my nose.
How did you break your nose?
I got hit with a baseball. I always played softball teams, but this was out summer in the back of a girl's house, and we loved to play softball. And it wasn't this hard. It was the big, fat softball. You know how girls used them, but they were still hard.
Mm-hmm.
We used the professional with the leather on it. But I was catching it, so I busted it. I remember I've never seen so much blood in my life. Outside, a big pool, and then inside, they took me and set me on the bathroom, what do they call that, the throne. I sat with it down and just bled everywhere. But I broke it and then had to go get it fixed. And then later on, my sister 2 years later did the same thing, playing softball in the same backyard, and did it for herself. But it was terrible breaking my nose. I couldn't breathe. I broke my face in 5 places. So it was pretty traumatic.
God.
Then I still can't smell good. I can't. I never could smell again properly. I can, if I get up to a rose or something, but while people can smell things, it's been very hard on me. People, whatever that is, it was sort of broken. So, can you smell good?
Yeah.
Or with your palate?
I've never been able to smell either. And so I just go, people who are talking about smells, I go, nope, I was born without a sense of smell. But I think it had something to do with the implant I got when I was in kindergarten. And I remember after that I was always so embarrassed because people would say, oh, smell the pretty. But, thinking back, it was before that. There was something going on before that, but I couldn't never smell.
No missing time, no memories? No abduction?
Who knows? I don't really have missing time. I just have things that I clearly remember. So the other thing, the implant I remember getting was when they put one behind my right ear. And I remember I was outside. I like to go outside and play. I'm a kind of a loner because there was nobody my age, right? My brother and sister were older, and they would be off in school or playing with their friends, and I was kind of by myself with my mom, and my mom didn't really. My mother was bored with being a mother by the time I came along. She was older, and I think she just wanted to do something else. So I would entertain myself, and so I would go out into the yard, and I liked singing. I would go out in the yard and just sing, and they were just songs I made up. I call them nonsense songs. I'm singing a nonsense song, and then all of a sudden, now knowing what I know, it was probably some kind of drone, but it was a insect-sized drone. But it was very insistent on coming up to me and piecing it together with what Bud Hopkins said in his books. It probably, paralyzed me, knocked me out, and then they took me up on the ship, and then they put in the implant behind my ear, and then they returned to me. And so when I came into the house, I would say, Mommy, Mommy, a bee stung me, but it wasn't a bee. And then my mother called my dad, and he came home from work, and they took me over to the doctor, and the doctor didn't know what it was, and he's there. Yeah, something definitely is going on. Oh, it's probably just a cyst, and it'll go away. Because they didn't know what the heck. That was 1958, right? They didn't know what to do with stuff like that. They had no concept. So, and it didn't. It went down. It was very swollen, very painful, and it went down. So that was in 1958, and I remembered that. But then years later, I'm reading Bud Hopkins' book, and he said that they tend to put the implants in the nose, and it was in the right nostril. Mine was in the right nostril, and they put them behind the right ear, and I'm going, wow, I got that one. And then when I was a teenager, they said they like to take out a sample from the right tibia, which is the front of the leg towards the bottom there. And lo and behold, that was another time I got this. It was like a scoop mark, but it was into the bone. The bone, you could actually feel an indentation of the bone. And I got married at 16, so every time my husband would, bump into my leg, I would shout out in pain, and that lasted for 2 to 3 years before that indentation grew over. So that's three things that I recall. But then I've always known that they've been taking me, just to use that term, because I used to run, like jump and run, getting in and out of my bed at night when I had to go pee. It was like irrational, but once I found out what was going on when I read about Betty and Barney Hill and saw the movie, oh, no wonder I was afraid to get out of the bed. I was afraid of the little people grabbing my feet and grabbing me and carrying me off. So anyway, did you have anything like that? Irrational?
I had, remember, we've had this conversation before, folks, over the years, but where I would start my story if we were making our own Taken book, which I guess we need to, and we can put, by the time phrase, but remember I was, my second my next sister had arrived, Brenda, on South 7th Street, and I was down on